AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. We're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. And ooh, by the way, it's a hump day.
It's hump day.
Let's hump, everybody.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Heather Dinich was here in hour 1.
Hump day.
She was in D.C. where Nick Saban testified.
It's hump day.
We tried to come up with her nickname.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Still figuring it out.
Hump day.
CFP Denny.
It's hump day.
Denny brackets.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What did someone else say? Oh, you know what someone said, Muse?
Hump day.
What'd someone say?
It's hump day.
CFP in HD. HD.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Wordy.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Hump day.
Jay Dixon was here.
It's hump day.
Talk Cruton.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Taylor Calandro was here.
Hump day.
Talk Booze.
It's hump day.
Ross Jackson's here in 10 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Talking Saints.
Hump day.
All right, we got a lot to do. Let's get cranked up here in hour number 3. As we mentioned, Nick Saban was testifying before Congress on Wednesday, where the bipartisan bill with Senators Cruz and Cantwell is starting to make its way through Congress and being discussed. So at this Senate hearing today, Nick Saban covered a lot of ground and a lot of things that we probably have already heard plenty of over the course of time and this era. And Saban talked about how the focus in college athletics has changed.
We all have to ask ourselves a question: what is our guiding principles for the future of college athletics, including Olympic, women, and non-revenue sports? I've spent my adult life in college athletics. I believe in it. I've seen young people come in the program, need structure, need discipline, need coaching, need academic support, need accountability, and I've seen them leave with a degree, a career, a family, and a better chance to be successful in life. I think the current system that we have in college athletics right now makes it more and more difficult to do these things. We've moved away from development to focusing on money and not life skills.
Weird. I wonder how much money Nick Saban made when he was the head coach at Kent State in 1990. You think Nick Saban was more about development and life skills or money when he was coaching at Kent State? What do y'all think? Muse, what do you think?
Probably money and
No, at Kent State in 1990. He's more about development, life skills. Okay, never mind music. Yeah. When you're coaching at Kent State in 1990, you're probably not making a bag. It's probably about life skills and development and things like that. Over 17 years at Alabama, Nick Saban made $120 million in compensation. I'm not saying he only did it for the money, but he wasn't turning it down. I do agree with Nick Saban on some things. Play number 4, please.
Right now in college football, we have no rules. We have state laws, different in every state. We have litigation. The NCAA cannot enforce their own rules because every time they try to enforce the rule, there's a lawsuit. I mean, an example would be Ole Miss's quarterback. They say he can't play next year. He's playing next year because of litigation. But this is just the way it is. It's become an arm race. Who spends the most has got the best chance to win. But I think it's a race to the bottom because if you don't spend to win, you lose your fan base and you don't have any revenue. So how do you manage the other sports?
So there's 2 parts there. Obviously, I agree with him on the front part of that. And I think you don't need Congress to enforce those rules. You need the university presidents to say, we are abiding by these rules, but they're all cowards, and they won't do it because they need money and what sports brings their university. So they're not going to stand up and say, no, Trinidad Chambliss, you can't play. Or no, Brendan Sorsby, you can't play. Now, the second part of that was Nick saying it's a race to the bottom because it's been more about whoever spends the most wins. As a matter of fact, he talked a little bit more about play number 7. This was Nick sort of giving an illustration of his time at Bama.
What if we continue to invest more and more in football and basketball? Let me give you the history. My first year we had collective at Alabama, $2.7 million. Next year, $7 million. Next year, $10 million. I retired. Next year, $17 million. Next year, $24 million. Now you have schools that have close to $40 million rosters. So if we continue to do that, we're going to lose Olympic sports, we're going to lose non-revenue sports, we're going to lose scholarships, and basically what's going to happen is you're going to have football and basketball succeed, and we'll have club sports for everything else with no scholarships. We can't let that happen.
Why not? Can anyone answer that? Why not? And by the way, the idea that spending equals winning isn't new. Y'all, in the arms race of college football, I remember one off season where Alabama built a barber shop in their football facility. Oregon had this palatial waterfall they built in their football facility. LSU built first-class airline pods as lockers. It's always been about who spends the most money. It just used to be who spends the most money on facilities and coaches and staff and recruiting budget and all that stuff. Until the player said, we want it too. You see, if you're doing $200 million in revenue, there's more than enough money to pay $17, $20, $40 million to the players. There's more than enough money to do that. If you stop paying coaches, I'm going to hurt some feelings right now. You stop paying coaches high 6 and low 7-figure contracts when they're coaches of sports that lose money. The hell kind of investment is that? You stop staying at resorts. You stop flying first class or private. You get on a bus and you stay at the Holiday Inn. You live on a budget like the rest of the world. It only becomes a thing when the players now want to be paid. I'll say again what Trev Alberts said for years. He's right. Yeah, that Trev Alberts. Guy used to be on TV, Nebraska, now he's the A&M AD. College athletics doesn't have a revenue problem. They got a spending problem. You got $200 million in revenue. And you can't find the money to pay the players? Got a spending problem. You can do it. It's just uncomfortable. Let me ask you a question. You work a 9 to 5, dual income household. This is the reality for a lot of people. Listen to me right now. You want to put your kids in private school, or you're going to pay for college. What do? You sacrifice. Maybe you don't get the new car. You buy a used car and you drive it till the wheels fall off. Maybe instead of taking the really nice week-long vacation, you take a more moderate vacation for 3 or 4 nights. Or you don't take a vacation. Like, when you go to the grocery store, you shop on a budget. Like, it's called fiscal responsibility. Like, you and I have to do it. Why don't they? It's my biggest problem with this whole conversation. It's not like the money isn't there. It's just that they, the adults, keep spending it on crap. Live within your means. What did college athletics do? What did volleyball programs do before $200 million budgets, before the college football playoff and the tradition fund? What did swimming and diving do 50 years ago? I genuinely don't know. Do that. I'm not picking on volleyball or swimming and diving. It was just the first 2 that came to mind. But it's the biggest problem I got, man. When I hear people, and look, Nick Saban is the greatest coach of all time, and I understand a lot of what he's saying. But my biggest issue is what I've been saying for years on this topic. The adults created the mess. They're the ones who went chasing dollars, grew college athletics into this major billion-dollar annual business. Everybody got rich, fat, and happy on the backs of free labor under the guise of amateurism, which we all know is fraudulent. The athletes finally say, hold on, we want our share. And now people vilify the athletes. This isn't sustainable. It's not sustainable because you built a house of cards. Now it's on you to fix it. That's why I have no sympathy for the adults in this at all and never have. You can fix it. Live on a budget. Live on a budget. By the way, I think the bill that Cantwell and Cruz are introduced, it's got no shot. Until you address I'm late. I gotta go. I'll dive deeper into the bill, but until you address antitrust, there's no shot any of this ever works because it's just going to continue to be challenged in court. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seaganeer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Tell you every day to buy local and shop local. Erica went by Clegg's yesterday, as a matter of fact. Went home last night. She had some of the stuff already planted, beautiful flowers, some in small patio pots on the coffee table in the outdoor kitchen, some in the potters by the fire pit or by the pool. Listen, you want to add that pop of color to your flower beds, your patio pots. Man, Clegg's can help you do it with these greenhouses that are bursting with blooms and 4 locations. So no matter where you are in greater Baton Rouge, you're near a Clegg's Nursery. Seaganeer Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. She picked up the Aeon mosquito barrier, which I tell you about all the time as well. Do that twice a year. We don't have a mosquito problem. You could do the same. So make sure you get on by. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Saints are back on the practice field. Media availability with coaches, players, a little field time. Ross Jackson was there. LouisianaSports.net joins us now. Yo, dude, what up?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good day. So Alvin Kamara was there and told reporters that it was like Forrest Gump. I just felt like running. I just felt like going to practice today.
I'm being here, man.
You buying that?
I am buying it. I don't think that it was without an ulterior motive, but I am buying that he did want to be at practice today. I think more so it was him trying to show through action what it is that he's been saying all along, which is that he sees himself as a part of this team moving forward, wants to be here, and now he's effectively, maybe, we'll find out if it's effective or not, but applying pressure to the organization a little bit by saying, like, hey, look, I'm doing everything that you need me to do to know that I'm going to be a part of this. Now the ball's in your court. And that's kind of where he's been all along through what he's been saying. And now he's just putting forth the action to back up the words.
Ross, what would have to happen for the Saints to cut Alvin Kamara?
I think it would have to be a situation in which they decided that he is going to play a role that's not commensurate with what his cap hit is, which is sitting around like $10.4 million. So that would have to be step one. Step two would have to be that they would go to him about a potential pay cut. I'm not certain that they've done that yet. And then step three would have to be that he denies taking that pay cut. Outside of that, there's not really a reason for the Saints to look at moving on from him or even really adjusting his contract. They're not starving for salary cap money, which is, not something we get to say very often, but it's kind of a new truth for New Orleans. And so really this would have to come down to them just deciding, hey, the role is going to be different. And right now the contract doesn't make sense with what the role is going to be. And so then they ask him for a pay cut, then he'd have to turn that down. That would be the only situation in which I can imagine that it would resolve in or land on him being cut. But I don't know that it's absolutely necessary for them to do so either. It's not like they're starving for the cash, and it's not like they save any money by making the move either.
Okay. We'll pause the AK stuff because I don't think we're getting resolution on that soon. They're on the field for OTAs. You all have had some limited access to go watch. Sounds like you've kind of zeroed in on this Jonas Sanker star position storyline. Give us the nuts and bolts of what's going on there.
Yeah, this is a really crucial role for Brandon Staley's defense, just the way that they play. They usually have a guy that's assigned to being what we would call a field corner. Typically speaking, in the NFL, the ball is snapped from a hash mark. And so the hash mark that's closest to the out-of-bounds boundary, that's called kind of the boundary side. The hash mark that's furthest from to the opposite side is called the field side. And so usually you like guys that can move well in space and all that to kind of be on the field side. So they kind of split up the corners and safeties to play those roles, right? Field or boundary. Whereas that star corner role is trusted with following players in motion and moving potentially from one side of the field to the other, having to adjust in that way, playing safety, playing linebacker, playing down on the line of scrimmage in certain play calls and packages as well. So it's just this really versatile role that we watched Alontae Taylor play last year, and we know is a big part of what it is that Brandon Staley's defense does. We've seen him implement it with guys like Derwin James and Jalen Ramsey in the past. And so this is a critical kind of foundational position for the Saints defense. And so figuring out who was going to take over that role when they didn't sign anybody specifically to do so in free agency, when they couldn't draft anybody in the draft that could come in to specifically play that role, it was always going to be very interesting to see who it was. I thought that Jonas Sanker was the guy that made the most sense. He played a similar role during his collegiate days over at Virginia. He can rush the passer, he can tackle, and he proved last year that he can cover. I think with all of that, it's just part of what makes that role so interesting to follow. And their decision to go with Jonas Sanker being one that is really, really kind of intriguing because he can do a lot of things that maybe Alontae Taylor couldn't do. And so it'll be interesting to see kind of how they grow that role with Jonas Sanker there if he ends up holding on to it. He's at the top of the rotation right now.
At Ross Jackson NOLA, LouisianaSports.net, Locked On Saints. You can always get his stuff free. By the way, newly designed LouisianaSports.net dropped today. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. Ross's OTA Day 4 practice report is up there. In addition to Alvin Kamara being in attendance, anything else notable in your attendance list?
I think the only other things was that we were really watching for was to see if any of the involvement for a couple of the rookies was going to tick up. Jordan Tyson is still kind of being, as Kellen Moore likes to say, and really it's kind of a thing around the NFL now, is they're ramping him up and getting him ready, mostly with the focus on trying to make sure that he's good to go in totality for training camp. Same thing for Christian Miller. No movement there. Those guys remain limited, didn't participate. One notable absence, or not absence, but one noticeable change in participation today, though, was tight end Oscar Delp. He kind of looked to maybe tweak something during last week's OTA practice. Now, this week, he was kind of standing off to the side and watching from his position group. And so that'll be something to watch out for. This team really needs to be able to get its rookie class that looks like it's ready to have an impact healthy to the beginning of the season. And so there's some kind of concerns here, or maybe not concerns, but certainly some, eyebrow raising moments that are taking place when it comes to the health of that rookie class right now. So that's something we'll continue to track as we're back next week. Outside of that, no big surprises in terms of attendance, no Chase Young, no Chris Olave. But remember, these OTAs are voluntary. They were here for the first week, and it's not unusual to see players either arrive a week later, just for the last week, or only show up for the first week and then maybe go away until mandatory minicamp.
What about Jalen Polk? What are we seeing?
Yeah, Jalen Polk looked really good today. He had a great catch as he crossed over from the left side of the field to the right side of the field. Great arm angle throw by Tyler Shuck, kind of doing the thing that we saw him do all season last year as a starter during the games in which he was a starter. And he was able to come up with a really, really nice catch over that point. And this is just a guy that, I talked to him after practice, and I asked him about what it felt like being traded for by a team when you're on injured reserve and know you can't play that season. And he talked about sort of the gratitude that he felt. The ability to trade for a player on injured reserve is something that's only been in the NFL for about a handful of years. I think it was like a little bit over a handful. It was like 2018 or so when that was actually implemented. And the Saints doing that really showed a lot to Jalen Polk. And so he feels really kind of indebted in the idea of like, okay, I'm going to come here, I'm going to work my tail off. And that's showing so far on the field. He worked a ton with Tyler Shuck over the course of the offseason, and we're already starting to see that chemistry come together on the field.
Anything else?
I would say the only other a couple of big things that I would highlight are the guys that are kind of behind Jonas Sanker in that star slot role are really intriguing. Jaden Price was one of them, and Beanie Bishop was another. These are two cornerbacks that joined the team last year. Jaden Price is a UFL guy that signed with the Saints last offseason after the spring season was done, and was kind of more like a primary punt returner, kick returner during his time at the UFL, but also led the league in passes defense. So somebody just to keep an eye out on as a potential early look at maybe a guy that's under the radar that could actually make the roster because he might be able to back up that role. I think that's pretty big. Beanie Bishop is a guy that played really well, had 4 interceptions during his rookie season playing in the slot in Pittsburgh, but is going to be suspended to start the season. So that's going to be able to give the Saints a little bit of an interesting potential play at roster numbers and things like that. And then the backup center role, because I know, Saints fans are sickos like me and we care about who's taking snaps behind the starting center these days.
It mattered a lot last year, didn't it?
Big time. And having a guy like Luke Fortner being able to step in showed the value, especially if you go back to 2024, where Eric McCoy was injured and the Saints dropped 7 games in a row.
Yeah.
A little bit more correlation than causation, but still kind of tied. Torres Simpkins has been the guy that has been backing up that role consistently. He played really well there during the preseason last year, but really only played guard during the regular season because they had Luke Fortner, who they traded for before the season began. And so Torres Simpkins continues to be the guy that's kind of right behind Eric McCoy in that rotation. And so a promising player continuing to get some early reps there.
At Ross Jackson Nola is where you can follow him on X. You can read him over at LouisianaSports.net. Listen or watch Locked On Saints, always free. Thanks, dude. We appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you. Ross Jackson. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows, ReliefWindows.com. Those beautiful roller shades. If you haven't checked them out, man, do so at ReliefWindows.com. You want to add some climate control and some light control to your indoor space? You got to check out Relief Windows. check out the roller shades. They'll install just like they do other windows. Measure twice, install once, custom made for the specification of your home. You go to the website, reliefwindows.com, reliefwindows.com. You'll see the tab at the top where it says windows, doors, siding, shutters, shades. Like click the shades tab right there. Just tap on it, and you'll see beautiful photos of the custom fabric roller shades that they have. I mean, look, sometimes maybe you work night shift. You want to make sure that your room's sort of blacked out, and during the day when you're sleeping, great way to do that. Maybe you want to watch TV, you don't like the glare, great way, put those roller shades down. Check them out. They got options for you. Functional, stylish for any room with a modern fabric, interior blinds that deliver that sort of effortless light control, really streamlined look. You can find it at reliefwindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. All right, man, we appreciate Ross. 30 minutes left in the show. Otter will be here with us in 15 minutes for a little bit of Otter Locks. We'll see what Jimmy's got on tonight's game one of the NBA Finals. By the way, you can get all the picks for free over at louisianasports.net. Otter Locks always there. Everything always free over at louisianasports.net. As we mentioned just there with Ross, today we did roll out the a newly redesigned version of louisianasports.net. Major hat tip to Rivers Huey, who we hired about a year and a half ago as our digital media manager, and this was a massive undertaking that she spearheaded. The design, working with our partners at GatorWorks to build and develop this site to be more streamlined, better user experience, certainly a better aesthetic as well. They built a beautiful site. We've updated the logo and all that stuff, so hopefully you really enjoy it. And as always, louisianasports.net is free. No paywalls, no freemium, article limits, none of that stuff. It's just free. So go check it out at louisianasports.net. All right, I got a quick break, y'all. We will get your quick thought on NBA Finals Game 1. The SEC and the Big Ten have formally made their statement about the Protect College Sports Act. LSU Hoops, we know, has one very prominent now road game for this coming season. So a lot that I want to check the box on here when we come back. We'll sort of empty the bag before we get to Jimmy. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review,
I want you to call or text Darren James. I'll give you a cell phone number. 335-7666, 335-7666, of course, 225. 335-7666, 335-7666. Call or text Darren James if you're thinking about selling your home. Or maybe you're looking to buy. Maybe you're moving to Baton Rouge. You've been away, you're coming home. You need a home. Where are you going to stay? Call Darren James. Maybe it's the time of year where you're going through that season of life. Empty nester and you're looking to move, so you got to sell your home before you can move wherever you're going. Maybe you got a new job. Kids are out of school. This is the time whenever you're making that pivot. For whatever the reason may be, if you need to sell your home, you need results, you need to sell your home fast for more money, and by the way, you want the most exceptional customer service experience you could possibly have, you want Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com, agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
after further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Pretty fluid, keeping an eye on the baseball transfer portal. A lot of names, just very candidly, phones pinging a bunch just with names and things that are flying around, and names that could be interesting for LSU. A couple to keep an eye on. Landon Hood, he's a right-handed pitcher from Gonzaga. It's apparently someone that LSU could potentially have interest in, so keep an eye on him. Dawson Park is a shortstop from Texas State who's also in the portal. That could be someone else worth watching there. So a lot of this is moving, and LSU will get things more officially, right, as LSU has visitors on campus, and as that continues to unfold, we'll keep you posted. But Landon Hood, the righty from Gonzaga, is one worth keeping an eye on. I know we told you that Trosclair, the lefty from Northwestern State, was on campus a day ago. He's making the rounds. He's going to visit Tennessee and Arkansas and Mississippi State and some others. So, But we'll keep an eye on that as it continues to develop. One quick thing. We told you earlier in the day in the show that NC State and Virginia were set to play week 1 in Brazil. That game has now been moved week 0, in Brazil. That game's now been moved. Logistical reasons, probably some money. Why they're going to move it to Charlottesville, Virginia. Remains to be seen if that game is still going to be played week 0. Remember, part of the reason why games are played week 0 is if they're international or Hawaii. Well, there's some news on the hardwood. John Rothstein shared earlier today that he's confirmed that LSU, well, I shouldn't say confirmed, he's sourcing it, that LSU will play in the 2026 Acrisure Series in Palm Springs. So 28 teams will play down in Palm Springs, and LSU is going to be one of them. So USC, South Carolina, Arizona State, Utah State, Grand Canyon, St. Louis, Stanford, Colorado. We don't know the official matchup, so we don't know who LSU will be playing, but that's another non-conference that we know LSU's playing. Remember, they've already agreed to play University of Houston at Toyota Center, and now we also know they're going to play now in the Acrisure Series in Palm Springs. So Tigers building that non-conference schedule a little bit here. I'll be curious, when Will Wade was here the last time, and one of the things about Will that is, for all the controversy about him, notwithstanding, the thing about Will that's undeniable is his sort of maniacal attention to detail. And I remember listening to Will Wade talk about it was on, I remember it vividly, it was on his coach's show, and he was going through how he built his non-conference schedule. And it was 100% with an eye on the NCAA tournament. And he knew what teams, why he was going to play certain teams that he knew would have 20 wins and what that meant for the RPI, and he thought it'd be a winnable game and a quad this. And it's like, when you're LSU, you can't build a non-conference schedule with Duke and UConn and Arizona and UCLA and blue blood brands in the sport, because you're not one of them. And so you're not really going to get those opportunities to play those home and homes. So you go play sometimes in the events and in Grand Cayman or the holiday hoops giving and all that sort of stuff. Those types of classics that you play in, but you try to build a schedule that's going to look good on paper. It's going to please the algorithms, so you have a good net ranking when the time comes. And Will's pretty brilliant at that. So I trust he knows what he's doing here. We don't know who they're going to play in that Acrisure Series, but it's an opportunity to bolster your non-conference schedule with whomever they're going to play and take your team, go have an experience and all that sort of stuff. So learned that earlier today, courtesy of John Rothstein. It's after further review. We also, very quickly, I want to talk about the SEC, because the SEC and the Big Ten have formally now given their opinion on the Protect College Sports Act. I do have to remind you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 9 locations. Remember, at Lee Michaels, you're always going to get a stunning piece of jewelry. You'll be the hero. She'll be thrilled with a gift in the red box. And every time you walk in, you're always going to get what they term as the Lee Michaels experience. It's at the center of what they do at Lee Michaels. Guys, we don't walk into jewelry stores and buy jewelry every day. It's not something that we're very comfortable doing. At Lee Michaels, they want to remove that. They do an amazing job of creating a comfortable buying atmosphere where if you want to try on 100 pieces of jewelry, do it. You want to buy something today, great. If you don't, that's fine too. But they're going to make you feel welcome and at ease and thrilled with the decision and the purchase that you make. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. The SEC and the Big Ten, with Nick Saban and others speaking for the Senate today, and the Protect College Sports Act being unveiled a week ago and being debated in Congress today, the SEC and the Big Ten today released a statement saying they do not support the current version of the Protect College Sports Act. The statement read in part that the, quote, bill leaves critical issues unresolved and don't meaningfully preempt state laws with a federal one. So the biggest thing in this bill right now that it doesn't address, if you missed, we had Heather Dinich here in hour one, it has to address antitrust. If it doesn't, then everything in there is subject to lawsuits, and even if you pass this legislation, you're going to continue going down the same road, the inability to enforce any of these rules. I mean, I'll say it over and over again. You do not need federal legislation. What you need are university presidents who are willing to stand up and say, we are voluntarily members of the NCAA. We agreed to be in this organization. They have rules that we agreed to follow. If we don't like their rules, we're not going to go sue them so we can get players eligible. If the university presidents and chancellors collectively would have that point of view, this is done. That's the group who needs criticism, because collectively, not individually, collectively, they have not been willing to do that. If the university leadership would stand up and squash these lawsuits, no, you're not going to court to sue the NCAA to play at our university. We are voluntarily, we choose to be members of the NCAA. They have a rule. Brendan Sorsby, their rule is if you bet on sports, you're ineligible. You're ineligible. See ya. Good luck in the NFL supplemental draft. But they won't do it. So we continue to go down this road. We waste Congress's time with nonsense like this, and it's probably not going to result in anything. I'm not trying to be negative. It's just the reality. Like, we had attorney Jeff Watson with us last week from Gordon McKernan's office, and Jeff does all the NIL contracts for all the many members of the G team. So he's very intimately familiar with all the inner workings here. And his point was, look, this bill is going to get redlined a million times before it ever gets to a vote. It's going to look dramatically different when it goes for vote than it does today. We're probably never going to see this thing pass, and if it does, it's probably not going to have any teeth. I'm not trying to be negative, just trying to be realistic. You actually want change. The group of people that can affect change are the university presidents and chancellors. I just don't know if they ever will. All right, we'll knock out our final break of the show, y'all. Jimmy will be here for Auto Lock. See what he's got for game one of the NBA Finals. Do it next to wrap up. It's AFR.
AFR.
You know, we work downtown Baton Rouge here at Guarantee Media, and just a few blocks away at the corner of Convention and 3rd is where you'll find Watermark Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge's premier hotel property, the original Louisiana National Bank building. And, man, it is so gorgeous every time you walk through the doors. It is the picture of a luxury hotel. You walk in, you see all the beautiful marble, all the antique, the history of that building, the antique artwork that's still there, the history of that building that they've maintained while modernizing, adding modern amenities, not only to the guest rooms, but to all the public spaces. You know, the Gregory is the restaurant right there in the lobby of Watermark. It's open every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Sunday brunch. You can always get a reservation. Remember, if you're eating at the Gregory, it's complimentary valet parking, so you never have to worry about parking downtown. Just pull up to the door, say, I'm going to eat at the Gregory. Boom, they'll park your car for you. It's Watermark Baton Rouge. Great place for an event downtown as well. Watermark Baton Rouge. Love telling you about our friends over at River Parish Contractors. rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. That's the website. You can also call Big Jake. You know, I'm going to give you his number here in just a quick second, but rpcontractors.com. And they are looking right now for a safety professional. 3 to 5 years post-apprentice work experience in construction industrial work. Previous construction experience is required. OSHA 30-hour requirement. Safety certification. Get all the info. I don't need to go through it all. But they're looking for a safety professional right now at River Parish Contractors. To apply, call Big Jake over at River Parish Contractors. I'm telling you, if you want to work for an awesome company that gives you as much overtime as you want to work, day or night shifts, that has incredible benefits, you want to go work for River Parish Contractors. Call Big Jake at River Parish Contractors.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. It's time for Auto Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
What's up, Matthew?
Another day, another dollar, man. Some NBA Finals tonight. Looking forward to Game 1, man.
Yeah, yep. And stepping out of the JV for the New York Knicks.
That's true.
We are, the party's over, in my opinion.
Okay.
I love the Spurs in a big way. They are certain books around the country, especially up on the East Coast. They're just getting flooded. I mean, flooded with Knicks action. So, Knicks are a public dog tonight. I expect them not to be as rusty as they were after their first 9-day layoff, like they were against Cleveland. For 40 minutes of that, they'll be down by more than 22 with 8 minutes to go if they play like that. And the biggest thing that I see is between the Hawks, the Sixers, and Cleveland. I mean, between them, they can't spell defense. And this is one of the best defensive teams in all of the NBA. So 3 days off. That's more than they've gotten all year long. So I think they're going to be rested and ready to go. A much more experienced Knicks team, but this is a major step up in class. So we're taking the Spurs minus the 4.5 tonight, and in the series minus the $1.90. So
Okay.
like the Spurs. I did not put the series bet on the website, so I'm adding that tonight.
Is there anything else that you like, maybe to lower the juice a little bit there on the minus $1.90 on the series?
Matt, I would look at maybe also sprinkle, maybe divvy it up a little bit, them winning in 5 or 6.
Okay.
I can't see it going 7. I know there's a little bit more of a price on 6 because that game would be in New York. Actually, 5 and 7. Or Spurs in 5 and 7 are a shorter price than they are in 6, but I would divvy it up a little bit between 5 and 6.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
So, just trying to offset that series price. I know it's a big one. The other one tonight, and that's what we do when we get these high-priced hot pitchers, and we're going with 4 hot pitchers tonight. And Chris Sanchez, obviously National League Pitcher of the Month, did not give up a run in the month of May. And through 1 inning in June, he's 3 up, 3 down against the Padres so far. We're hooking it up with Shohei Ohtani, who was off by their broadcaster's account, and I would have to say as well 4 walks, but he didn't give up a hit in 6 innings. So that's pretty good when you're off and don't have your best stuff. You throw 6 innings and no hit balls. So Ohtani, Sanchez, Phillies, Dodgers, parlay playing a little plus money. In that one, I think I just got like plus 13. Played it not so long ago, and then we going with Schlittler let us down, man. He hadn't gotten hit like that all season long. It's just the shortest outing for the Yankees. The Yankees All-Star to be. We going with Garrett Cole though. He has been phenomenal since that long layoff. So we're going with Garrett Cole minus the short price against Cleveland tonight. And then the last one is a guy that we know a lot, and we saw him pitch for Tennessee, pitch for Wake Forest, and Burns for Cincinnati. He's on a roll right now. The last 9 starts, he has not given up more than 2 earned runs, either 0, 1, or 2 earned runs. We're looking for him tonight against the Kansas City Royals.
That's minus $1.62.
Yeah.
So big number there, but. Yankees, Reds on the money line, then a Phillies-Dodgers money line parlay, and then in the NBA Finals tonight, it's the Spurs on the number there, 4.5.
Rare chalk fest for us on Otter Lock.
Hey man, that's what it is.
Riding the hot pitchers, and I think when. And look, when the Spurs win tonight, that series price is going to go way higher than $1.90.
Okay, great point. Yeah, so if you want to get on it now, get on it right now on the series. All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow? Thursday.
We're at the original Walk-Ons on Burbank.
Awesome. Great spot as always. Thank you, Otter. Good luck.
I don't have any lawnmower effects today, so I apologize.
The walk-off was the mic drop was incredible last night. All right, man. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right, we'll see you. That's Jimmy Ott. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Of course, if you do want to go bet, you can do so. We appreciate Jimmy. The picks are always there for free over at LouisianaSports.net, so feel free to jump in there, as always, for free. All right, it's After Further Review. We are brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Of course, we tell you all the time about the FMOL health system, of which, of course, Our Lady of the Lake is a part. But my goodness, the thing that I just love hammering this week is just go to the doctor. Went and had my annual physical earlier this week with Dr. Curtis Chastain over at the Our Lady of the Lake Men's Health Group. I'm a member there. That's it's my primary care physician, and so he's been outstanding for me. But if you want to find your own, great. Drew goes, and we see so many subspecialists and specialists at the Our Lady of the Lake Children's Hospital here in Baton Rouge. What an amazing resource. If it's heart, stroke, cancer, they continue to expand healthcare. Are bringing world-class healthcare services right here to our communities with the FMOL Health, Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. OLOLRMC.com/LSU. OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU together, we roar. All right, y'all, it's just about going to do it for us here. I agree with Jimmy. I don't know that I'm as bullish on the Spurs in this series as he is. Minus $1.90. It's actually minus $1.85 right now at DraftKings if you want to bet the series. He is right about the dramatic step up in competition, though, for the Knicks going from the Eastern Conference to the West. Spurs went through the gauntlet, knocked off the defending champs. A Game 7 in OKC was mighty impressive. Hard to go against the Spurs given all that. But Spurs-Knicks Game 1 of the NBA Finals is tonight. That'll do it for us. Muse, Paulie, thanks. Y'all have a great night. See you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, remind you about Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. I was over at Shaw Bills on Burbank yesterday. Got to visit with Danny Klein, Broadmoor alum, Baton Rouge's own great dude. He's the manager over there at the Burbank location. And not only Danny, but got to visit with a lot of the staff members. And we're doing a little interview series. We'll start to drop some of that for you. You can hear from these guys individually. But what continues to stand out when you talk to anyone associated with Shaw Bills always is the commitment to customer service. It's just their differentiator. In a business that sells a commodity, tires, where tires are a commodity. You buy the same product when you go into any tire store. You want a Michelin, a BF Goodrich, a Bridgestone, Firestone, Toyo. It's the same thing. So you sell them the best tires at the cheapest price. They guarantee it, by the way. And you treat people awesome. And when you do that, they're going to keep coming back when they need an oil change or the brakes are squeaking or whatever. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling.